See if I can get this to go live. Oh, I'm live. Hi, everybody. Just trying to turn. Do you want to come up here and say hi, Gavin? We're just, come on. You can come up. Cooper's here. Come on. Do you want to say hi to Sean and Cooper? Come on, you can come up. I'm just going to turn on the light, you guys. Here, Gav, say hi. Okay. You going to step on me, though? All right. Hi. Hey, everybody. Just had to turn on a light. Hi, sweet pea. Hi. I know everybody loves you. Everybody loves my Gav. Okay. Do you want to go sit over here? Come on. Come on. All right. Hey, everyone. So I want to just welcome you. And I was just like, and by the way, Chanel Charlotte, you are a rock star. Thank you for, jumping in last minute. And hi, Carrie J. I'm just saying hi for a minute. Ooh, Puerto Rico. Oh, I love Dorado Beach. Yeah, and Chanel Charlotte, she's got it going on because I'm like going, I just have something to say. And she just jumps in. So thank you. I want to kind of do my little mini, it's kind of like mini me manners. You know what I'm saying? Like y'all are going to laugh. But I was thinking about this because a couple of things that have really come up are some comments on some videos on the feed and things like that, particularly around the video I did with Lara, my friend Lara, who does face reading, and she's a psychic, she's intuitive, she lives in Scotland, and I just think she's fab, and I like her so much. So I want to welcome everybody. Post where you're from for a minute. Let's just take a second. Okay, that's right. It is Tori time. Thank you for saying that. Who said that? Wait a second. Texas Lassie, good to see you. All right. Aw. Little baby. I love when people post about their pets. Like, you know me, I'm a pet nut. San Antonio, South Africa. Shannon, Morristown, Indiana. Alabama's in the house. Who's in Asheville? I'm in Asheville. I know, Lara. There you are. Lara Wells on here today. Thank you for joining us. Oh, yeah. Jennifer, LA, my old stomping ground. Ooh, New England, Colorado. Hey, hippie chick. Brussels, Belgium. Wow. That's a place I'd like to go. I'd like to see the Ardennes. I'd like to go there. Well, my father jumped on D-Day, and, you don't understand. You're so funny. Smiles forever. Are you good? Smiles to you forever. Are you going to just keep posting that? Because I see. That's something you brought up. Hi, Letty. Okay. So smiles to you forever. I don't understand. So I noticed, and I want you all to know, I'm going to tell you all a story. You ready for a Tori story? So when I was in voiceover for a long time, and I was with a big agency. I was with an agency, William Morris, as a voiceover artist. And one of the things that I noticed, I went into one of my agent's office one day, and he had a stack of old CDs. You remember CDs? And I said, wow, I said, you have all these CDs. I go, these are all these voiceover artists. And he just starts throwing them in the garbage. I'm like, what are you doing? And he said, well, we recycle these, don't worry. And I was like, but you haven't even listened. He said, oh, these people think they're fooling me. They're sending me the same video over and over, CD over and over again, and they have the same stuff, and they think I don't notice it. And so I want to say that I learned something very valuable there, and that was I see you guys. Like, so when someone posts the same thing on 3 different things, I read it. I read them. I know. It's like she's everywhere. So I do read them, and I do notice. And so, when someone is thinking that they're not heard, and they just keep it's kind of like resending the CD in, right? I hear you. So when my little smiles to you posted just now, I don't understand. I know you posted that the other day. So when I say that to you, it's kind of like I kind of know the connection of it. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But, it's interesting. I just want to let you know I do read them. So I do know who you are. And that's kind of important. So today, and some of you know, because I just love my subscribers. I really kind of you guys are just, I don't know, you blow me away. Like, you're so smart, and you're just so intelligent. It's kind of like, oh, breath of fresh air. But there's a couple things I want to bring up with all of you, and that is, and I know you're going to notice this when I say it, you know, Lara was very sweet to come on to a feed with me. We did a live, not a live, we did a recorded, and she talked about face reading, right? And there were people who came on and just said horrible things. I mean, they've been blocked and all that. They just were like, you know, this is crap, this is this is that. And here's the thing, some are trolls, some are people that just need to have an opinion. But here's the thing that I want to say. You know, when you see someone like me, for example, or someone else having a guest on their channel, think of it like this. Think of it as if your parents or you had a guest in your living room. Would you want somebody to run in and go, ugh, that person's such a phony? Out? They'd be like, you'd never do that, right? So why would you do it when it's here? Okay? And I want to say this is our opportunity, all of us, to teach people how to treat us. And I just want to say, Michelle Donald, it's so good to see you. I loved your comments, by the way. Hugs to you. And thanks for the super chat. I really appreciate it. And I want to say that some of you are really posting the most fantastic stuff. And I think that, and what did you just say? Angela just said something. I just want to say, and I honestly think people on YouTube can be meanest, hurtful, most hateful people. I think anybody can, and I'm going to say that to you. I think that's a great point, Angela Lee. I think that, and I think some of us aren't in the right frame of mind, as Chanel Charlotte said. What I want to share about, and the reason this becomes important for all of us, is that years ago, I was watching, remember Cops, the show Cops? I was watching the show Cops, and there was this big burly guy, and he's sitting way back in the seat and driving like this, right? And he looks at the camera, and he says, the ways I sees it is, you know, I'm out here because most people, you know, a lot of people, some people, well, maybe not all. He goes, a lot of people are pretty good people. But he said, there's some people out here that just don't have manners. And that's why I'm here. I'm here to help them learn manners. And I thought, wow. And so when we talk about true crime, we're talking about people that don't know how to behave. And I think that the thing we're doing now is in acting like we're invisible and making these snarky comments is not all of you. I just want to say that. Yeah, Joe Boss. No, that's not true. Cut to cup smashing in a guy's head. You know what? Don't say that, because I'm going to tell you why. I'm pro law enforcement. So I realize that there are some rotten apples. That's always true. But overall, you know, we have to look at, and I'm gonna have a very positive, if I don't like it, I just don't watch. Thank you, Jennifer B. Great point. And I want to say thank you to all those in law enforcement. And I really want to say I'm very pro law enforcement. I'm pro people who do that job. I don't have to do it. They do it. And God bless them for doing it. But let's get back to this, because this is very important. I think there are people, and I made notes, that's why I'm looking down, that take what's said and they twist it into something else. And oh, good to see you, Katie. Thanks for being here. They twist things around. And when you've heard me talk about twisty, right? Now I'm going to talk about Lara and my guest the other day. As my guest the other day, it's the first guest. She's the first guest I've had on my channel, and most of you were very, very polite to her. Pretty much everybody was. If you don't like it, like Jennifer said, just change the channel, turn it off, and go. Oh, I'll catch Tori in the next one. Here's what happens, and this is something really specific to the idea of righteousness, all right? And, you know, I think Larry used the word monkey, and she was talking about Chris Watts' head, right? And somebody came on and said, wow, somebody's going to find offense to that, and that's such an offensive word. And I thought to myself, go away. And the reason is because, you know what? Just stop it. Stop finding everything offensive. You know, nobody meant what you are saying they meant. It's just your way of, hold on, let me pull up my frickin' soapbox and get on and preach to you about why that's offensive. You know what? If that's the case, nobody can speak anymore, because everything you're saying is going to be offensive to somebody, right? And here's the thing I want to say about it. I'm on a roll. I want to say something about, I'm going to speak for a moment about something that's going to get some people cray. Here's the thing. Lara mentioned in her, now by the way, when you have a guest in your living room, can you control what they're saying, right? Lara said things that some of you know I haven't said, or I even say I don't know anything about that, so I don't talk about it. She said things, she's my guest, so I'm listening. And in my head, I know that there are going to be people who come on and have things to say. Now, Lara said she talked about Chris Watts and she talked about the spectrum, right? And she was referring to, I think, Asperger's and autism. Lara, correct me if I'm wrong on this. Can you state, Lara, what your child has? Because one of the things that Lara knows from her experience is she has a child who, I think your child has Asperger's, right? Now, what's important about that is Lara was speaking from her own point of view, right? Her own learning on it. And I think it's really important that you get that not only did she have a child who has this, who's on the spectrum, is she, oh yeah, okay, yeah, thank you, Katie, my son has Asperger's too. And she is speaking about recognizing characteristics. Now here's, because I was just talking to her before about that. Okay, thank you, Lara. Yes, he has Asperger's. Now here's the thing. He put and Lara, I think you told the story, but he put their cat in the washer, killed the cat. Now, what I want to say about this is that doesn't make him a serial killer, guys. It just means he didn't know what to do. Now, here's what I want to say. No one is trying to create some kind of spectrum around anyone who, I have Hashimoto's disease. Does that mean I'm like, just because it doesn't define you. Having Asperger's or being on a spectrum or having, narcissism, everyone has it. Having these things doesn't define who you are. It just means it's basically the person who's stating it is seeing something in Chris Watts. That doesn't make it gospel, by the way. It doesn't mean that all people, and just because he might have that doesn't mean he's a killer. But what happened was somebody got on and commented and said, you're really painting a bad picture of people who are on the spectrum. And by the way, this has happened a few times. And here's the thing I want to say. A lot of people I know dealing with Asperger's or being on the spectrum are brilliant. They're amazing people. You know what? That doesn't define who they are in the world or their contribution or the love they bring. It doesn't define any of that. It's just in that conversation, we were speaking about Chris Watts, and here's the danger around this, guys. This is what I wanted to come on and talk to you about. The danger around pulling up a soapbox and saying, not all people are like this, and you need to know this. The danger of that is not that it's not true. Okay, I want to really validate that. That is true. Not all people who have these issues or these disorders, or I don't even like to call them disorders. I just think they're just like, you got this gift, you got this gift and this is who you are. And these are parts of us that make us unique, that make us the fabulous people we are. That doesn't mean that a serial killer who might have, and I'm using that as a general, who might have Asperger's means that all people are like that, any more than it means that all short females who are white are going to be mean. It does. See, I think the thing that happens is everyone is so sensitive about their own issues and they want to be understood at such a desperate level that what happens is we inadvertently make something an unsafe place. And what I mean by that is, and I really want to be clear about this because I did respond to this one person and I said, you're making some great points. Create a channel about Asperger's and teach us about it. That's not what we're doing here. And here's the danger of everybody jumping on a soapbox about something, is that it becomes like Facebook. No one is going to agree about, for example, there's a word that's blocked. Do you know a word that I blocked? Trump. And you know why I blocked it? Because I don't want any politics on here. Because it becomes, I'm right, you're wrong. I blocked things that I know cause dissension and help and and make us forget who we are, guys. See, who we are loving beings. And when we talk about Asperger's, or we talk about being on the spectrum, or we talk about some of these crimes, it's in a desire to understand it, not to hurt people or misrepresent them. So here's what I want to say about that. If something's triggering you, and I just finished a class this morning, and exactly, what did Chanel Charlotte said, I came here to get away from politics. And I think we all have. But here, I just taught a class this morning. I finished my last class with this amazing group. And I don't get into that. But here's what I want to remind you of. What we're doing here is slightly different than what can happen on Facebook. And it's interesting because Lara and I were talking just before this feed, and I said, there were some people who went into upset. Notice I want to back up. Notice I say go into upset. I'm not saying they are upset, because it's not defining you. It's a choice. Remember what Nicole Atkinson said? I make a choice every day. I make a choice every day. We are making a choice. If you don't take it in, you don't have to work it out, right? So when we make a choice to be in offense, right, that has offended me, we are making a choice of that state of mind. That is not defining who you are. It's stating a choice that you've made about your expression and how you're going to express in that moment. So when I say that to all of you, it is really true that you get that no one's trying to hurt you here. No one's trying to disparage people with Asperger's. I know people who've been affected by this, and it is extremely challenging. And at the same time, these people are brilliant. And so I think there's a lot to be said about it. This is why I want to encourage you. If you have things like that, and I'm getting truth bombs, you want to share something that means something to you, start a channel. Don't let me get in your way. I want to support you in that. I want to support you in something that means something to you. Think about that for a minute. If you don't take it in, you don't have to work it out. Don't make it mean something it isn't. It's like the term monkey. Right? And I remember, when I was little, we would say, hey, kids, stop, we're just monkeying around or something. And then it became this big political thing that somebody was calling I think it was something, calling somebody a monkey, basically. Well, you know what? That's not what the guy meant. And we all know that's not what the guy meant. But we have to take this offense so that we have something to care about. Think about that, right? Because people are missing. They're missing the point. Duty Ron, I love you. Amen. Love and respect from New York City to you and your family. God bless, Duty Ron. We've got to do something, by the way. I really want to sit down and talk to you about law enforcement. And he's brilliant. If you have not gone over, it's DUTYRON.com, not.com, but that's his channel. Please go follow him. I'm getting truth bombs. I love your honesty from one New Yorker to another, buddy. Hello. Thank you for the super chat. And I want to say, what we're talking about here is cops are on the street because people don't know how to behave. And what if we knew, like I said, remember I told you about my fifth grade teacher, Mr. Smith? He was like, New York, PS 41. I went to PS 41 in New York City. He used to come in, he dressed just like Dr. King, Martin Luther King. Mr. Smith walked in, looked like him too. Walked in, he'd say, children, decorum, and that meant behave. That meant behave. And so what I want to say to you is not everybody's trying to offend you. When someone says Asperger's, they may be on the spectrum. That doesn't mean they're a murderer. Please, it doesn't. It just means that person is having a thought. When I used to collaborate as a writer with my friend Carrie Bickley, and she's gone on to write great movies. She's fantastic. She wrote The Gun in Betty Lou's Handbag, all this stuff. And we'd be like having a talk, right? And she'd go, no. And I go, bear me out. Meaning, let me finish. Because I don't mean what you think I mean. So what I want to say to you is what if we didn't twist the words, but we looked at it this way and just say to somebody, you guys, you say Asperger's, and I'm hearing you say that this people who have this are murderers. If that's what you're hearing, you will then give me a chance to say, I am so sorry, I did not mean that. That was not my intention. Instead, what happens is people get on a soapbox, they put a big thing up about how it is not what you think it is. And then what happens, and bear with me, what happens from that is then you get a bunch of people going, right, you're right, and she's wrong, and I'm surprised Tori did this. That's not what we want here. Because what that does is it creates an unsafe environment. And so when you see me go no or stop it, it means that I'm seeing you creating something that you're going to have to work out, or you're going to expect us to work out for you. Guys, the courts are filled with people who can't work shit out. Think about it. That's why cops have a career. And what I'm saying is when we look at crime, we need to look under the actual act, but the behavior that is encouraging bad behavior. And going and recreating some real, and who said that? Duty Ron. Thank you, Duty Ron. Mob mentality. You know what? You're gonna laugh. I just put mob on here. I had mob. I wrote it down. It's a great thing that Duty Ron said that, and I know he can speak to this better as a retired police officer. But it's kind of like one guy has the idea, then the next one does it, and all of a sudden there's 20 guys fighting because one guy asked another guy for a cigarette. And it was like, the guy said, I don't smoke. And it comes down from the 20th guy. He said, oh, that guy told him he was an asshole because he smoked. That's not what was said. So what I want to be careful here of is the game of telephone, right? Where you hear a word and it triggers you and you go, oh, this is what that person's saying. You know, it's different when people are a little bit off their rocker and they come on and go, this is crazy what Lara said. Lara is my guest. She has come onto my channel as a loving action because I said to her, oh, you do face reading. Let's do some face reading on Chris Watts. That's fun. It wasn't meant to be, this is what it means. That's why I put in the description. I know it's not, but I put it anyway as a disclaimer, gossip, because we're chatting about things. We're exploring ideas. You cannot explore ideas if everything you worry about saying is going to offend someone. And here's the thing. I guarantee, I promise you I'm going to offend you. I guarantee. And I guarantee you're going to offend me. Thank you so much. I just want to, forgive me, I want to do another shout out to Duty Ron. Make sure you go to DUTYRON. He's on YouTube here. Please subscribe to his channel. He's fantastic. And Miri 1956. Woo! Thank you. Another 50s, baby. I'm going to say something. Of course, I'm saying a lot. Tarot readings by Roxy. Fantastic. Go check out her channel too. Trigger alert. You know what? I love that. See me at the beach? Just said trigger alert. Just warn me. Just go trigger alert. And then you can say, and then I can kind of feed back to you. You know, I think the thing is that I want this to be a dialogue, not a ruling. And so when people put on on the page and they go, I thought we could have an opinion is very different than an attack. Do we really need to define it? Come on. Do you know the difference between an attack and an opinion? Right? Great, great, great. That's true. People are not, here's the thing, and Macker7 just said it, people are not taught how to be good people, how to fight like an adult, how to discuss without offending. They should have a class to take before marriage. Yeah. Okay. Josiah Gulling, that is really not what we're talking about, do we? I'm going to put you in timeout because that's not appropriate. Okay, so a couple things I want to say. Why, Leah, so good to see you. So here is the point. And, oh, Natty just said that. Letting someone offend you is just that you are allowing them to affect you. Alexis, wait, Walla Malag. I know that means something. Thank you, mellow, kind, attentive. Oh, Alexis is coming up with, okay. I said the other day on my live chat, I talked about the 3 words that the qualities you see in Shanann Rushek. Alexis, I'm pretty sure you are, and by the way, thank you guys for the, super chat. Alexis said mellow, kind, and attentive. Those are the 3 qualities that she saw, right? So when you take on those qualities, mellow, kind, and attentive, or you see that in someone else, it means that is who you are. Sometimes we think we don't have it, and so we become jealous of someone who has a quality. But I want to tell you something. The reason jealousy can be a waste of time for some of us is because we just don't recognize that we already have a quality that we see. So if you're spotting a quality, you got it, right? So you can't say someone's hateful unless you are. So I can't turn around and go, that person's being offensive unless I've been offensive. Unless I own those qualities myself, I can't say that you're doing it. So all the things I'm saying that other people have, that's me too. This isn't like, oh, you guys are doing it and not me. It's that the humanness of it, the understanding that no one is trying to offend anybody here. No one's trying to say anything wrong about you. No one's trying to say that Asperger's people are murderers. That's not it at all. You know, I know people with, and by the way, if my family had not been affected by the disease of alcoholism, I would not have met so many wonderful people who changed my life. So remember that the people who have Asperger's, the people who are on the spectrum, they're actually oftentimes brilliant. So even if, let's say if Chris Watts has that, if he's on the spectrum, that doesn't mean that all murderers have that. It just means, oh, maybe he has that. It doesn't define you, and it doesn't make you any less of a person. So what I want to say here is that we as a community have an opportunity to really kind of redefine how we're going to be in the world. And what happens is we go back to basics and we teach people how to treat us. We teach people how to treat us. And what happens is that when I kind of go, no, stop it. It's because it's gone off in a, you know what I said? Remember I said that about a crazy clown car? It's a crazy clown car. All of a sudden everybody's like, yeah, I want to put on a red nose. And yeah, you're saying my hair means this. No. Everybody sit down. Like I'll kind of run in the house sometimes and my dogs are going crazy. I go, sit down, because it's kind of like, stop. We don't need to be this cray-cray about stuff. We don't need to twist things so that we get attention. We don't need to shout at other people if we're in pain. We just need to say, I have to share with you guys that because I have this, I'm experiencing so much pain about feeling like people are saying that people with Asperger's are criminals. Fine. Then we could say, no, babe, that's not what we wanted to say at all. We wanted to tell you we love you, and I'm sorry that you're seeing it that way. Think of it as you are coming here for something. Be the best you can be when you show up. Be the best you can be, and be the most human you can be. I like to say, don't hate, appreciate. We can learn from listening. Duty Ron, right on. And I think that, and I want to say this, and for those of you, I know I'm saying this, please, by the way, if you like this video, do a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. And the reason I say that is because, and I say this a lot when I go over it, I listen to Duty Ron's lives too, he's great. When you give somebody a thumbs up or you subscribe to their channel, it actually helps them in ranking on YouTube. So it's really important that you like a video. And even if you don't like it, if you go, I don't agree, give it a thumbs down. That's fine. But the important thing is that voting helps us as creators to do more of it. So I want to just say thank you, Duty Ron, for the super chat, and that's really, really kind of you. And as Duty Ron always does, thank you. He does this a lot. I love that. So, and I want to attribute that to him. But he's right. Don't hate, appreciate. And the thing that we can say is that going back, let's back up a little bit to the word hate, right? That's what bullying is. When we don't understand it, we hate it because we sometimes, not everyone, sometimes when we don't understand something, we think it creates a weakness in us and we hate that thing we don't understand. And therefore, we see in people that have special needs, we see our own special needs and we therefore judge it and hate it. And we become the bullies. We become the things we hate because we don't want to be the weak thing we're perceiving. So what I want to say to you is everyone's on a spectrum. We all are. So some get a little bit more of dash of paprika or hot sauce than others. But it doesn't define you as a person. It has nothing to do with your contribution. Your contribution is being the best you can be at all times and being kind to people. You know, I'm getting truth bumps as I say this to you guys because I feel like we're all in this together. Nobody is in this alone. You know, I really want to say when someone says, you know, you're wrong, you're this, you're that, it's not bringing up the energy of our conversation. So what I want to do, and I think this is true for the channels, at least the ones I love, you know, I think we're all about bringing up the consciousness too. So when I do this kind of talk with you, and this is, you know, for my subscribers specifically, it's because I know you guys get it. It's not because it's like I'm trying to tell you the way to be. It's that I'm reminding you of your greatness. Think about it that way. Because let me tell you something, if this is resonating with you, you have it in you. So it's kind of like, and what Duty Ron said is appreciating the differences doesn't mean defending them. You know, when I grew up in New York City and I spent my high school years a lot living with my bestie who lived in the projects. I lived with a Black family. And one of the things I want to say about that is that, you know, they had such a great culture. Now, I don't feel the need to defend their way of life. It's great. They have their own way of doing things, my other family, right? But the thing is that why do we feel the need to help other people who are not asking for it? You know, we can support people in their choices, and we can look at this and say, you know, I know that that's not what Tori meant. I know that's not what Laura meant. Right? If you don't understand something, Jan, just explain. Just can you get a little more specific, and I'll answer that. You know, when Lara said, you know, I think he's on the spectrum. You know, I kind of had that moment because I was like, oh gosh, I'm gonna have to deal with people commenting. And what I want to say about that is, it doesn't mean anything. We don't have to defend or deny. It's kind of like, oh, you know, here on this channel, I can say, oh God, it hurts me when you guys say that. And then we get a chance to say, oh no, we know that it's not meant as all people with this have that problem. Give us a chance to support you. How about that? Give us a chance to say, yeah, you know, like, give us a chance. Give us a chance to love you. Give us a chance to do that. Give us a chance. Give us the benefit of the doubt that we're going to support you. And, you know, I want to say that because I think that's a super important thing to say. And there were just a couple other things. And I think, gosh, Judy Ron already said it. Oh, I want to just talk about bullying for a minute. Okay. Natty Bats said, Natty Bats, I love that, said CW was off. He acted 13 years old. To me, that's not normal for a 30-year-old adult. I agree. Now, here's the thing. That doesn't mean, okay, that doesn't mean he had Asperger's or he was on a spectrum of autism. That doesn't mean any of that. He could just be stunted. But what happens too is that when you are on a spectrum of anything and there are other things added to it, and here's what I talk about when I was teaching card reading, I said, some of the things that I talk about is that you stack issues. And so all of a sudden, all those issues get compressed and it looks like you're saying, oh, that person with Asperger's has this. So what we have to do, it's like an accordion. We bring it apart so that we can look at the issues. And by the way, that's what the law does. The law pulls it apart, which is why so many of us like the way that works in a sense, because what it's doing is it's saying, this here is the legal part. This here is an opinion and it's hearsay. And that's the best part. You can listen to one of my guests and go, that's hearsay. I'm leaving the room. It doesn't define you. Don't let anyone ever define you. And I'm going to share that with you. I don't want anybody to define you but you. And if you have a problem like that, you come to Mama. I'm going to come. You just come right over here and I'll tell them what I think. Kim Smith. Hi, Tori just became a patron. Yay! Okay. Thank you for all you do. You help me about thinking about things in a different way. That's the point. Thank you. Oh, Kim Smith. Thank you for the super chat. And also welcome to, I always say Patreon. Thank you. Welcome, welcome. And learning and growing. Bing, bing, bing. That's what this channel's about. It's not about getting on and going, I have this and I don't want you to offend me. Because if you want to do that, what I'm going to respond to you with is, you're making great points. Go do it on your channel. See, and I don't mean that as an offensive thing. I mean it like, remember when we were little? I'm trying to find something to put my, oh, here we go. Pencil, put my hair up. Remember when we were little and like, I don't know about you, but I had a grandmother with a mouth on her, right? So my grandmother would come in the room and she, I'd go, and my grandmother would go, stop it, shut up. Now, do you think she didn't love me? No, she was just saying, shut up, go do it then. My grandmother used to she had a Polish accent. So she'd go, oh, go do it, get out of here. Well, that's kind of my New York accent because I can talk with the New York accent, by the way. How am I doing, Duty Run? So when I talk with my New York accent, what I'm talking about, all right, let's just get all this together. What I'm talking about is that when I say go do your own channel, I'm not trying to say to you, go do your own channel. I'm saying, but you see, it's the intonation is lost. What I'm trying to say is, do it. Someone needs to hear what you have to say. And by the way, you matter. You matter. Your voice matters. And here's where it doesn't matter. Here's where it doesn't matter. I know Duty Ron is awesome, Sean. I know. Here's where it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter when you have an againstness energy. Bear with me. When you have an againstness energy, it's like fighting something. When you have a supportive energy, you're falling into a loving energy. So it's kind of saying, I'm thinking of this, hold on. It's kind of like, no, and like my grandmother, God bless her, she owned some properties, right? And she was a maid. And wealthy people left her their estates. Now, I don't want to say this too loud around Duty Ron because I think there might have been something hokey there, but she ended up getting some property. But you see, what happened was, I was like 8. My grandmother would give me a little broom, say, come on. Go, all right, we'd walk, how far do we have to walk, Grandma? This was in Buffalo, New York. And she'd go, just sweep. I'd be sweeping the sidewalk. I'm like, what? Before? Just sweep. All right, sweeping. And she'd be sweeping the stairs and one of her tenants would come out. She's like, oh, Bob, do you have my rent? Oh, yes, Mrs. Fiegel. He'd go back in and get the check. The point I'm making is that, the subtlety, right? In those days, like you kind of got, oh, she's trying to get her money, right? But she wasn't so subtle. But you see, she meant well. She wasn't trying to offend the guy. And so I think because of and bear with me, everybody, because of the nature of this today, we can so quickly feel unappreciated or feel like someone's not listening or feel like people don't hear us. And the truth is, we can't hear you if you're shouting. There was a wonderful story. And I want to just, it's, well, she means business. That was my grandmother. I'm not so sure, though, she didn't kill her clients, which is kind of like a weird thing, but we're not going to investigate that right now. But one of the things I want to say is that, and don't worry, I didn't inherit any of it. So my cousin swindled it. It was a whole big thing. But, one of the things I want to say about this is that when we look at I'm going to talk about bullies. When we glorify bullies, or we, what's the way to put it? Somebody the other day posted, and I since kind of moved it, but it was just basically this person was bullying. And so I pinned it to the top. And I just wanted to see what would happen. And people were like, whoa, 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 like, and it was interesting because remember what I say, how you relate to the issue is the issue. How we relate to the issue is the issue. So the way people were responding to that person is the way they experience bullying, right? So when you're experiencing a bully, how do you respond? To me, it's kind of like, okay, here's the bully right here, everybody, look, bully, bully, bully. And so what happens is some people go, oh, wait a minute, you're the bully. And I'm like, yeah, now I'm twisting the table so that you, Twisty, can see what it feels like. Because I'm going to share with you, nobody really who's locked into that behavior can ever change it unless they experience it on the other end. I want you to think about that. Until we experience, and I'm going to share this with you. I remember I was in a self-help group. I was in my 20s, and I was a yeller. Okay, I was a yeller. I'm screaming about my feelings, and we're in a group together. And all of a sudden, because we were a group that was self-contained, the therapist was outside the room. Someone ran out, therapist comes back and says, what's wrong, Tori? And I said, no, I'm just expressing myself. And she said, well, I heard you were yelling, you were screaming. And I said, yeah, I was trying to say how I felt. And she said, no one could hear you. I go, what are you talking about? And she said, you scared them. They weren't going to listen to you. People cannot hear you when you are screaming at them. And I was like, huh? And it suddenly hit me that I was in a place that people did want to hear what I had to say. And I only experienced that by having the mirror put up in front of me and going, oh, that's bullying. I didn't know that. And so every time in my life that I've been the bully and I've had a mirror held up, I learned how to course correct my behavior. I learned how to change my behavior. And so then people, it was very interesting because then some people got on and started protecting the bully, right? They started saying, oh, you guys are bullying her. And it was really interesting because the people that were protecting the bully are people who probably were abused in some way. Let's go deeper. They were probably abused by a bully and feel the need to protect bad behavior. So when we don't understand how to have good behavior, generally it's just that we don't know how to behave properly. And I remember, I don't know if y'all had this, like not everybody, but you ever have like plastic covers in your house? Remember that your mother or aunt would cover the couch, They would cover the couch with plastic because that was like for, oh, great, dude, you're on. Thanks. Remember, they would cover the couch with plastic because that was for the guests. What am I, chopped liver? I remember saying that to my mother, my mother and father. I walked in and go, "What's all this?" My mother was like, "It's protecting the couch." And my father looked at her and looked at me, and we looked at her, and I said, "Protecting it from who? It's just us. Nobody ever comes over." My mother went, "Oh, yeah, I guess." And it was like, so you're trying to protect something that doesn't need protecting, because it's supposed to be used. Okay, let me just see. I'm going to see what you guys are. Okay, Jennifer Golden just said, I told my son, you don't know what the bully's going through at home. It doesn't make it right. But try and see if you can make friends. If not, move on and don't react. I think the thing, and I love that you said that, Jennifer, because one of the things that happens is that with a bully, you want to get, and we all know this already, this is Psychology 101, right? I mean, anybody can read a book or hear from a psychiatrist or psychologist who'll say, they're really suffering inside. I get that they're suffering inside. Is it all right with you if I walk on the other side of the street? Like, there are times, and it's not true with everybody, but sometimes I just stay away from them. Rather than engage, the most important thing is pick your battles. Pick your battles in life. And that's where I'm coming from with this. Choose what you want to stand up for. What I want to stand up for is a safe environment for all of you to be. I want you to come to this channel, and I'm the mama of my channel. I'm channel mama, all right? So on my channel, it's like, oh, behave, come down here and behave, because you know what? You're not going to get that anywhere else. You're not going to get a place where you can say that, because here's the thing. Until we get safe enough to speak our truth, we are going to be the bullies of the internet. We are going to be keyboard commandos, because the minute I say something, if someone's criticizing me, I'm not going to want to speak my truth. So then I go out and criticize someone else. That doesn't stop the cycle. The only way to stop the cycle is to say, you know what? I really hear what you're saying, and that might be best on your own channel. Just because I don't want to create drawing the wagons around someone, we don't need to do that. It's kind of like, imagine that I'm only really allowing people on this channel who are supportive of you and supportive of each other and want to get that we're trying to figure out some crimes and trying to prevent certain things from happening. And by the way, the only way to define this channel is by being as honest and as truthful as we can. And I'm not going to do this perfectly. I'm going to have opinions. I'm going to have wrong opinions. I'm going to have thoughts that may offend people. But you know what? At the end of the day, my intention is really to support you. That's my intention. And so I really wanted to say that to the people who come to this channel, who are here. We're going to talk about some crimes. There's some I won't talk about. And part of that is, like, for example, Michael Jackson. I don't want to talk about Michael Jackson. Not because there wasn't a crime or there is a crime. But the reason I don't want to talk about it is because he was a beloved artist. And I'm going to let other people discuss that. Just because I don't think that's something that would be a constructive conversation for me to have, that doesn't mean you can't have it. It just means I'm very interested in, for example, Fabio being murdered by his wife on the West Coast 2 years ago. I'm very interested in lights being snuffed out. And I know that Duty Ron talks about Karina Ventrano. I think that, forgive me if I said her name wrong, which is a very interesting case as well, because the young man who brutally murdered her is mentally ill. And I don't really know what kind of illness he has, but Duty Ron has been following it. It's a very interesting case if you're interested in that as well. But thank you, Jennifer. Thank you for saying that. And I know that, where are you, Lara? You just said something, and I want to just, I thought you said something. Yeah, I know. No discussion of Michael Jackson. I don't want that. Because the thing is that it's not really at this point, yeah, I just think that certain people, oh, not Fabio, not the Fabio It's not the Fabio with the hair and the bare chest. It's not that Fabio. It's the Fabio that was a hairdresser whose wife, Monica, and her boyfriend murdered him. And I was contacted by someone about it, and I was like, oh my gosh, I know that case. So I'm kind of interested in that. Mary Masden said, I believe we harvest the seeds we plant. I always try to lift people up that I come across. Thank you, because oh yeah, Drew Peterson. Drew Peterson, that is something I want to talk about. Talk about someone that is horrifyingly awful. Okay, let me just say, oh yeah. So let me talk about my Patreon page for a minute. Spiritual Solace. Karamia, woo, you're here. Thank you. What is that? Paul McCartney is dead. What, girl? Is that like some kind of weird thing? All right, hold on. Somebody needs a timeout. A little bit of timeout here. Whoop. So what I was going to say though is that when we talk about this stuff, thank you, Chanel. Sherry Coleman smothered her kids. Wow. Oh. Who's Drew Peterson? Oh my gosh. Okay, Google it. You'll see him. What is it with this name, like Peterson? Sorry for anybody named Peter. And by the way, the minute I say that, like I get, like when I said, oh, Nicole, and somebody said, my name's Nicole. I was like, oh, I'm sorry. So I'm a Sagittarian. My foot's going to go in my mouth. That means I've learned to apologize from a very early age, just so you all know. Okay. So what did I want to say? Oh, a couple other things, and then I'm going to say, remember this. I think from today, I want to kind of leave you with a thought that is this. And I want to talk about Patreon for a moment. I'm previewing things there earlier. That's the point of my Patreon page. And also, I want to do, like, I'm going to do a once a month reading with the cards. They're around here somewhere. I think they wandered off with the cards on my Patreon page, because I don't want to offend people here. So I'm kind of like riding a fine line. So there you say, I just want to see something. And wait, if my teachers make sense, my work is cut out and is waiting for me. Forgiveness. Okay. Forgiveness to be realized from me for Chris Watts. No, here's what I want to say about forgiveness, and I'm glad you said this. Okay, let's talk about forgiveness. We don't ever forgive someone else. We forgive ourselves for having judged them. Because remember, that's really God's job to forgive people. We forgive ourselves for having judged them. We forgive ourselves for loving people that are incapable of loving us. That's where the forgiveness lies. And that really, then once we forgive ourselves, we can see the humanity in other people. And until we see that, until we can really forgive ourselves, we cannot forgive anybody else. It's just not possible, because that means we're carrying around the same crap, and we're trying to forgive someone else when it's in us. So the best thing we can do is lovingly give a mirror to someone, is to kind of say, someone said to me, it was really funny. It was like this comment she made about, you're being very judgmental. And I wrote, I can't help but find this funny. Do you see that that's what you're doing? So it's kind of like, once you say someone else is doing it, you're probably doing it. Now, when we talk about Chris Watts, I am going to say something that came to me, and that is that I think he, unfortunately, is experiencing a relief of all the tension he felt his whole life. And I think that that's something that we can talk about more, but I do feel like the most important thing I want to be able to have here is when I bring guests on. Like, I really want to do, a recording with Judy Ron. I'm live abuse free. She and I've been messaging. We're going to do a recording. So I want you to really get that. I'm a Sagittarian. When people are coming on a channel as a guest, to kind of be polite to them. If you don't like what they say, just kind of go, this isn't for me. And just kind of move on. But please keep in mind that, when I put somebody on the channel, it's my best intention to give a different perspective. That doesn't mean I agree with everything they're going to say. It means that they have the right to say it, and you have the right to say it. The difference is that when people say, oh, you're not letting me state my opinion, there is a big difference between opinion and abuse. And if you're going to be abusive, I really don't want to hear it. I just don't. I've been through too much of my life to hear it from someone I don't know. But here's the thing. I want to also protect you from it. I don't like when someone comes on and says smack about any of my subscribers. So that is just, you're gone. And by the way, if for some reason you get booted and you're like, oh no, what happened? Just message support at Tori Hartman, message Elizabeth, and she will take care of it for you. Because sometimes people just get booted. It happens from me. It happens from other people. So I just really want to say that, But I want you to remember that I'm bringing people on here because I think that they have a perspective to offer. So, and I really like what they have to say. And I think it's interesting to hear different points of view. And you know what? You can make the difference today. You really make the difference. You make the difference in my life. I know that's true. I have a ton of work to do, so I'm going to go do it in a moment. But I just wanted to, say that I honor all people's religion, all people's perspective. And I don't think that anyone has a leg up on their relationship with God. I think your relationship with God is between you and God. My relationship with God, Jesus, that's my relationship. Now, I don't feel the need to make anyone wrong around their religion and around their beliefs. Where I draw the line with stuff is if I feel that you come on or anyone comes on and lectures someone else about how to be. That is where I really have to draw the line. It's like you have a right to have your opinion and your thoughts. But the other thing is, I think people mistake the idea of free speech and spewing garbage. So let's just remember that, spewing garbage all over doesn't mean that people want to hear it, or that, you have any right to vomit on someone else with an opinion. And I'm not saying you guys are doing this. I'm just making a point, Let's see. When we forgive, we are taking our karmic responsibility. Okay. Jujubel said, this is good. When we forgive, we are taking our karmic responsibility in this big web of life, and we each have the power to change the cycle. And I think that's super true. Thank you for that lovely comment. Duty Ron, you're so cute. He says, please subscribe to and thumbs up for Tori. Thank you, Duty Ron. Yeah, everybody, thumbs up because it does help the channel. I always jump on his lives and say the same thing. And definitely check out my friend Duty Ron. He's fantastic. And I want to mention, I love Honey Badger. I love you. You're so cute. Let's see, Laura Wells, I've subscribed to your channel. Lara. Oh, Lara is just really starting up her channel, so I want to support her in that too. I'm probably going to go over there and we'll do a face reading over there on her channel coming up on someone. I'm thinking Cindy Watts. Don't tell anybody right now, okay? Winky Whispers, yeah. Let's see, is this Teresa M 1979? I got my Chakra Wisdom Oracle cards and toolkit yesterday. Rock on. Yeah, jump over to on the same channel on the playlist. I have a weekly toolkit, and I talk about what's in the toolkit in terms of the and by the way, all of the tools I talk about are tools you already have, and some people get them different ways, right? We learn basic skill sets. So these are just reminders too of spiritual tools to use. And here's how I see it. We all have a tool belt, right? Some people just have a hammer and a screwdriver in it, right? And you kind of go, this is my tool belt. It's this book you need to read, or this is what I know. And other people want to add a lot more tools and a lot more things to grab onto so that you can function in the world, because the goal of everything is to feel inner peace, to find that part of ourselves that know we are doing what we came here to do. And one thing I want to say about that is you cannot and this, I just left my class with this today, you cannot leave a legacy unless you know the legacy you've been left. And that's a big part of that conversation. Yeah, I love Duty Ron. Go check out his channel. Yeah. I want to say that I'm really, Cindy made Chris, but she didn't murder those babies. I agree. Now I want to say this about this for a minute, because I know that Cindy Watts gets a lot of stuff, and I've kind of changed some thoughts on it. And here's my thought, and I'm gonna kind of wrap up in a moment. But I don't have anything against these people. I know it may seem like I do. I really don't. I think that everybody's trying to get by. I think what I made a point of when I did my Cindy Watts video is my biggest part about Cindy Watts is that I wanted to let her know. And in that video, I talk about, here's the things to do to behave well. Now, we know she's not going to hear that. We know it wasn't for her. It was for all of us to be reminded that when we say, I'm sorry, it has a huge, huge impact on another person. And the truth is that if there was just one I'm sorry, I think it would rattle all of us to say, wow, the woman's in pain. And we would have an opportunity to say that. Unfortunately, however she's dealing with what she's dealing with, she's unable to do that at this time. I don't ever give up on people. I'm sorry. I think everybody has a chance. Liz Stark. Okay, here we go. Say what you mean what you say, but don't say it mean. Yeah. I do think children are clean slates, but here's something I want to say. I think we all come in with a blueprint. I think we all come in with a basic blueprint. And then I think the things that happen in our life give us a direction. Our wounding right? The things that give us the most pain are going to be our greatest gifts, because those are the wrongs that we are going to try to put right in the world. The wrongs that we experience are the things that we want to set right. I'm going to leave you guys with that thought too. So please, please, please go check out Duty Ron, and please make sure everybody, when you go up, hit the little bell when you subscribe, because that will tell you when the person's coming on live. I kind of sneak on sometimes with lives because, you know what? I really just want to talk to you guys, the people that have subscribed sometimes, because you guys are the people that are like going, I'm really interested in this conversation. And so I want to continue the conversation with you, and we will be looking at more crimes. Crime, right? Because we want to understand it from a very intuitive way too. I used to get to work with, I used to do some stuff with the 10th Precinct when I was in my 20s, and I will tell you some of those stories too. Very interesting getting to sit with some of those homicide guys. In those days, you know, they just sat and like whiskey, you know, scotch, and they were like old school. And that's something I want to say. You know, there is something great about the past too. Don't just think that everything new is better. Sometimes we have to take some of those old sayings, blow the dust off, and remember them, because there was wisdom in the simplicity in the way people lived in the past. So remember that not everything is bad, not everything is wrong. Some of the things that happened to suppress us helped us fight into being who we are today. So that said, I want to leave this Sunday conversation with a shout out to all of those who suffer from any kind of disorder, anything that makes the day challenging for you. Remember today and tomorrow that Shanann dealt with lupus. She dealt with a husband that was challenging. Some people do. And she had some beautiful children, and she lost her life, so that we can remember the gifts that we have. And I really believe her legacy is really about us learning to be kinder to each other and seeing each other as a family. We're all in the same boat. We all have the same boat. And if you shoot a hole in the bottom, we're all sinking. There isn't a way to just save yourself. So that said, I hope you have a very blessed afternoon. Please go over and check out Duty Ron. I know he's going to do some great stuff this week on the, I think it's Karina Vetrano case, which is very interesting. I love you all a lot. Is it Karina? Yeah, I think it's Karina Vetrano. Please go over to his channel, check him out. We need to get him to 10,000, because then he can come into YouTube space with me when I come to New York in a few weeks. So, all right, everyone, much love. Have a very blessed afternoon. I look forward to talking to you, and we will talk about crime the next time. All right, have a great day. I don't even know how to, there we go.